There we go. Yeah, my games against Danya. 2075 to 936. We basically played 3,000 games. And is this just Blitz or is this Bullet too? It's total. We played 3,000 games against each other. 3,000 games, yep. I'm pretty sure that's the most games I played against anybody on chess.com. Not counting ICC either. Not counting ICC. We played many games there as well. All right, you guys. We're back. We're live. We're streaming once again. Obviously, as you guys can, there are a couple things. First of all, I was not intending to stream today. It was going to be my day off after streaming yesterday. Ultimately, I decided to stream today. For everybody who's wondering why I'm emotional. Yeah. So, I was actually I was walking over to the chess club earlier with my wife Batusa. I was on my way to the chess club earlier with her, and then we were about to cross the street, and I saw Eric Rosen, who was there, and he looked relatively okay to me. But then I asked him, like, I said, are you okay? Everything okay? And then he spoke to me, and he basically told me the news, that Daniel Naroditsky is no longer with us. I don't know any of the specific details. I don't want to speculate or anything like that about this, but Danya is gone. So yeah. Obviously very, very sad. But I was thinking to myself, having heard that news, I wasn't intending to stream today, but I was thinking that, on a day like today, and this day, unfortunately, it reminds me a lot of a day back in 2020. There was this it was July of 2020. I remember this very, very vividly. Someone who I knew very well at the time passed away, a streamer by the name of Reckful, and so it's kind of like what today feels like. And I just felt like I'd rather stream, have the opportunity to try and at least talk about Dan, all the great things that he did for chess during a short life. So yeah, I apologize in advance, of course, if I'm fairly speechless and I'm not all together today. So, but I thought that it would be good. We will, of course, cover the U.S. Championship, but if people have game recommendations, you want me to do like some analysis of his games, go over his great games, talk about some of the great moments, some of the that we had. Of course, I would. I'm open to that. So, yes. Yeah. So anyway, reading the chat, of course, you guys. I don't know anything specifically. And even if I did, even if someone were to tell me, like, someone in Charlotte were to tell me, it wouldn't be my place to say something. So. Yes. What happened to Danny? Yes. So, for everyone who's just tuning in and wondering why I'm so emotional, it's because I found out some news right before the game was about to start in St. Louis that Daniel Naroditsky is no longer with us. He's no longer alive. He's gone. He's dead. At only 29 years old. So, yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. As I said, I wasn't intending to stream today. But ultimately I decided to, because I felt like, I was thinking about Danya, and one thing that he really loved was he loved streaming. He loved trying to be educational for like the 2,000 people who would always watch the streams late at night. He was someone who tried to do what he could for the chess community. Now, I could be very negative and talk about certain things, but I don't really feel like that's appropriate either at the moment. I'm sure plenty of the people on the internet are going to have plenty to say on that topic, but ultimately I just felt like streaming, felt like being with you guys, giving those fans of Daniel, all the people who loved his chess, loved his content, loved everything he did during his short life, place to talk. And yeah, so I'm sorry, you guys. I am a bit of a mess, obviously. But yes, that's news. So we're gonna cover the U.S. Championship. Obviously, as I said, if you guys want me to go over his games, anything like that, we're definitely gonna spend time on that as well. So he's in chat this weekend. Yes, Daniel was in chat. I think 2 days ago. He wrote a message. I will try to find it. It was not a DM. It was in the chat. But I'll try to find it. I'll try to find it as I scroll through. Just give me 1 second, you guys. But I'm gonna try to find it. I'm trying to find it. Just give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, I don't see it right off. I'm not gonna waste a ton of time. But he was someone who tried to do what he could for chess. I think it's really a great tragedy what happened. When people do things for the love of the game, get attacked, all these other things, it plays a role. But ultimately, I think as a whole, the chess world, I think, is very grateful for the contributions that he made. I think for myself, I will always remember the many matches we played, the bullet matches we played in the old days, the blitz matches, playing in the U.S. Championship in 2015. Just someone who really tried to do what he could for chess. So, yeah, why am I in a hotel room? Because I'm in St. Louis. I'm in St. Louis. What happened? People in chat will write. He's not here. He's not with us anymore, you guys. He's not with us. He's not with us. So I think you know what I'm saying. I'm sure there are going to be articles and things like that. But Daniel's words 2 days ago. Of course, we haven't seen eye to eye on everything. Who does? But when my livelihood was on the line, I'll be eternally grateful for Hikaru having my back. Obviously, when these sorts of things happen, you always feel like maybe you could have done more. I did talk to Daniel not so long ago. And it's it's obviously very sad. Very, very sad news. Very, very sad news. So, yeah. We'll cover the event, like I said. If there are people who are from Daniel's chat who want me to go over his games, or if you guys have stories, obviously make sure to share it. Lots of Hikaru, I can't imagine what you're going through. Well, I think one of the reasons that it's so tough is because when I look at the whole online sphere of chess and what so many of us tried to do in 2020, I really look back. There's obviously myself. There's obviously Levy. There were the Botezes as well. But Daniel's one of those guys who was doing it from very early on. Maybe he didn't see the same level of success as some of the rest of us did, but he really did love streaming. He was someone who was there when it really began to take off. So it is very tough because it feels like someone from a certain time who's not with us. So please share stories of his chess games. We're here for you. Yeah, I spoke to Daniel a lot in recent times. I will tell you that the stuff that was going on deeply affected him. I'm not going to pretend that it didn't. But he was someone that I spoke to quite a bit in recent times, and it's again, I have no specifics of what happened, but I am, of course, very, 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 very sad. Very sad. He was 29 years old. Yeah. Yeah. I wish there was more I could say right now. But yeah. So 1 second, let me get some water. Give me 1 second, you guys. Sorry if my camera's bad and I'm just tilting this bottle and you guys see the top of my head, or you see my bald spot because I'm also not getting any younger either. We'll look at some of his games. Sure, if anybody has like a best games collection of Daniel or something like that, I'll do it. Sorry if I look weird. I'm just trying to pour this stupid water into my bottle. Bortnick confirmed it. I have no words. I've got no words. I'm sure at some point I'll hear the rest of the story. Apologies again. Like I said, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit out of sorts. I fill up my water bottle, and everything. But his win over Fabian in the US Championship was great. Yes, yes. There's a Chess.com article on his brilliant games. Okay, if you guys have the links, definitely share them with me. Definitely share them with me. So but yes, yes. He was in the comments last night. Yes, it is, of course. Can I share how I first met Daniel? I don't actually remember the first time that I met him. It might have actually in person been the US Championship in 2015. But we obviously played a lot of chess on the Internet Chess Club. I knew of him from a very young age because I think at the time he became the youngest chess publisher. I think he published a book at like 12 or 13 years old. So I remember hearing his name when he was like 12 or 13 years old. I don't think I'd met him at the time. I played him in the 2015 US Championship. He was already, I think, in his first year of college, which is why he struggled a lot in the tournament. His last stream was like a cry for help. Why couldn't we help him? I feel like I should have. I feel like in the last day or two, I should have probably written him a message. I don't know what happened, of course, but like, you know, it is one of those things where I think all of us feel that way. But unfortunately, there is nothing we can do at this point. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. What can the chess community do to honor his memory? You know, honestly, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, so I'm not going to speculate. But I would say the amount of toxicity, the amount of insanity that you see on the internet, I think is not good within the chess community. I've said it before. There is a lot of toxicity, and I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing. So. He was so young. He was 29 years old. He's 29 years old. So, yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those things it's very rough just because of the age he was, what a good person he was, overall. So it's and you know, again, I don't know what happened. But I know there were certain contributing factors, regardless of whatever it was, that played a huge role. I really wish when I heard 2 days ago, you know, from like Chad and other people that something had happened in a stream. I kind of wish I had sent him a private DM. That's like in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, what if I had done that? But you know, it won't change the fact of what happened. I missed something here. What's the news? The news is that Daniel Naroditsky is no longer with us. That's the news. Pull up the scene. Here's the right scene. Yeah, this is the game between Ivanchuk and Daniel Naroditsky from the World Blitzen Rapid in December of last year. I'll turn the volume down just a little bit. Forward. Oh wait, this is the end. Let me go back here. You know, one thing you see here, by the way, when I you know, now that I'm playing back this video, like I know it was further down, but like, you know, when I watch this, you know, one thing I will say is you see how stressed Daniel looks here. Like he's really nervous, really stressed. I'm not going to pretend to say that going to this tournament, he felt he had a lot to prove. There were so many people who were saying things behind the scenes, so many people who he was having to deal with, and he felt a lot of pressure going into this tournament. So when you see him nervous the way he was here, there's no doubt that certain other things played a role. But I mean, you see, and then you see the end of this game, like so serious. And then you see this too. I mean, all of this is really, this whole thing is of course heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking if you're Ivanchuk. It's heartbreaking if you're Danya. But I thought I would just play a little. What happens is the end is Ivanchuk. He was winning the game. He made a mistake, and then he lost on time. He lost in time. He lost on time. That's what happened in this game for anybody who's wondering. Yeah. So but anyway, all right. I don't really want to watch many more videos. It's probably gonna make me feel much sadder, honestly, if I watch more videos. So I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't really want to watch more videos because it's gonna make me have a whole nother bit. Who's crying? That was Ivanchuk who's crying. And one thing I would say separately is that chess is a very, very stressful game. It's a very, very tough game to play. It's a hard thing to do for a living. I think a lot of people actually just think it's some stupid board game doesn't matter, and to some degree, you could say that's true, but at the same time, it's also very serious. But yeah, for anybody who's watching and wondering, obviously for people who just tuned in, Daniel Naroditsky is not alive anymore. I don't know the specifics of what happened. I saw someone in chat say that Bortnick went to his house or apartment and checked on him, and he wasn't there. So yeah, or he was gone. I shouldn't say wasn't there. He was there, but wasn't there. So obviously people are going to be tuning in throughout the day. We will cover the US Championship a little bit, but most of my focus, of course, is if you guys have stories or if you guys have games you want me to look at that Daniel played, I obviously will be paying attention to that. I also said many times, you can talk about algorithms, you can talk about, getting the most views through things and whatever else, but at the end of the day, I always did believe that if you're an intermediate player who was trying to improve at the game, that Daniel's videos, his videos were objectively the best I felt of anybody, better than mine, better than Levy's, better than anybody at actual content that would help you improve. So if you guys ever if you're ever looking for some inspiration or trying to improve at the game, I would once again recommend that you do check out Daniel's videos. I would definitely recommend it for sure. So yeah, Daniel was an amazing commentator. Loved his excitement. He was a great commentator. He was a great commentator. I just yeah, and I think watch Bortnick stream. I mean, I don't really want to watch, and the reason I don't want to watch it is because I'm trying to keep it together as is. It's not easy, and I know that if I watch Bortnick stream, I'll definitely lose it. Again, not that I'm not already close to losing it again. But yeah, I mean, Daniel was someone who gave so much. I mean, you could say on the one hand, I don't know why I have this game up. You could say on the one hand, he didn't see the same highs that some of the rest of us saw, like myself or Levy specifically. But even after the boom was done, you would still see him streaming at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, playing all night long. His love for chess was truly unparalleled. So it's it's pretty tough. There will be no games. No, there are going to be games today because the news literally just broke right as I was leaving the chess club. So why is Bortnick streaming? I assume for Bortnick, it's probably like it's therapeutic. It's what he wants to do. Like I can tell you guys that when I think back to a similar situation in 2020, when I was actually streaming at the time, and I found out this horrible news about Reckful, the streamer. One of the people who really got me into streaming, and I remember I really couldn't handle it. I ended the stream like right away, and all I did for the next 4 hours was basically just go and cry. And I could just stay off and basically just spend the whole afternoon crying, but I also felt at the same time there are going to be a lot of people who are going to want to, and a lot of people are probably going to be looking for a space to have a to share stories or at least feel some positivity or at least hear things about what Daniel did. So that is that's what I would say. I don't think any of the players know, and I'll tell you why I don't think any of the players know. The reason I don't think any of the players know is because I told you guys, I actually feel bad now for other reasons too. Like, I ended up my wife went to her game, and I was gonna go in with her, and then like I stopped talking to Eric for a second, and then he told me this news, and so she just went in. I didn't have time to wish her good luck or anything. So I'm kind of annoyed by that too. But when it was like 11:50ish, and then Eric told me, and then I basically I was just in shell shock for like 5 minutes. I was in shell shock. I mean, I was in shell shock over the whole thing. So I just thought for me it would be better if I did this than just like literally just basically lying in bed and crying for the rest of the afternoon. So, but yeah, it's really really sad news. I think Bortnick is streaming at the same time. I know Bortnick and Daniel are very close. They both lived in Charlotte. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, he was 29 years old. You know, someone who honestly, if Daniel had not gone to college, I think he probably would have been 2,700. I don't know if he would have done much. He could have gotten much higher than 2,700, but I think he would have been 2,700, top 30ish in the world. He went to college, probably for the best. You know, he ended up being a very well-rounded person, a lot of interest, very erudite, very well spoken about a number of topics because he went to, I believe, Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. So someone who didn't quite make it as a player, but someone who nonetheless found his path through chess. So yeah. Now, of course, there are games going on. I'll pay brief attention to it. But one of the good things about not being a personality, never have any of the drama. Yes, I know, you guys. I know, none of the drama. You know, one thing that I would say that probably the thing that's the hardest part about doing anything in content creation, especially as a live streamer, more than making videos, because if you make videos, you control the flow of information, is that, you know, if you have a long day and you get annoyed or you do this or that, someone clips it and tries to make you out to be the worst person in the world. And it's very tough to deal with. And for myself, I saw some nonsense yesterday, completely misunderstanding what I was saying, taking everything out of context to try and portray me as the worst person in the world. And having to deal with the sort of stuff at any degree is very difficult to deal with. Very difficult. How can I post a link without being deleted? I'm not sure. Maybe send it to the mods. But at any rate, I don't know if they did anything with the U.S. Championship. You guys can tell me if something was said. Blame FIDE for not doing anything about Kramnik. That's not my issue. That's not my fight. That's not my fight. I mean, the only thing I'll say about that topic is probably until the day I, maybe not until the day I, well, now it's definitely until the day I die, because I'm obviously not going to forget this moment. But I would say that, you know, I always thought, you know, until the day that I basically just walk away from all the content creation, walk away from chess altogether, it will always irk me. It will always irk me how none of the top players stood up to support Daniel. It will always irk me. Like, people would say things privately, you know, people would say things privately, like they think someone's off their rocker or things like that, but no one stood up and said anything publicly except for me. Nobody did. And for that, I probably will always, I will always be somewhat upset about it. I'm not gonna lie, I'll always be somewhat upset about it. But I don't want to get deep into the weeds of any of that stuff. You know, but yeah. No, I'm not. By the way, you guys, I'm not talking about like Eric Hansen or Amon. I'm talking about elite, top level chess players who have a voice. So yeah, I'm not saying they're connected, but I know Daniel's mental state was greatly affected by what happened. That's that. I will say that. I don't want to say anything more because I don't know any of the specifics. But I will say that, having spoken to him in recent times, the amount of frustration that Daniel expressed to me about all these things was it was very high. It was very high. So anyway, Daniel's not playing the U.S. Championship. No, he was not playing the U.S. Championship. So yeah, can I do a video on YouTube? I might do a video off stream. I'm not gonna do it on stream because honestly, right now it's a little bit too raw. Like, you know, if I try to do a video right now, again, I'm gonna end up breaking. So I can't do it right now. I just can't. So we're gonna, of course, we're going to you know, we're gonna try to cover the games. Oh, Daniel, why? I mean, no, I don't know the reason. I have no idea. Bortnick was apparently found him. I mean, I would hope. You know what I would actually say. I'll take a shot at FIDE right now. I'll take a shot. Bortnick said he doesn't know the reason. I'll take a shot at FIDE right now. You know, if FIDE had any class, There were two things they do. First of all, they would restore the ratings to what they were before they quote unquote corrected their mistake, which was a mistake. And then secondarily, I hope that the Charlotte Chess Club organizes a tournament, like a blitz tournament in honor of Dania, and they actually, they have the proper rules in place with the 0.8 and all that stuff, instead of all the bullshit that they just pulled. That's what I would say, actually. Because all those guys played chess. Like Dania Bornik, they were playing chess. Sorry, I'm on the wrong scene, by the way. They were playing chess. Those guys loved chess. They were playing in Charlotte because it was their home club. They weren't playing to farm rating or any of that nonsense. They were literally playing chess just to play the games because they loved it, and it was right there for them to play. That's the thing that's, for me, is extremely sad to see. Like, it's like, I think people at certain points, people forget where they come from. And I said it before, but it's like, if you're a young kid and you go to, like, the Marshall Chess Club, or in like Daniel's case, you go to the mechanics to play against better players, like, as a kid, the best opportunity you'll ever have is to play against these IMs, these GMs, these people that you look up to. Sadly, one of these people was Daniel's hero for quite a long time. And so you go and do that for your love of the game. You play, you give these kids the opportunity, whereas once upon a time, you were one of those kids. I think it's greatly tragic, in that regard. Like, that's the one negative thing I'll say today is, like, with FIDE, like, all that nonsense that, Dania and Bornik, they're farming on purpose when, like, Charlotte is where they're from. I know my light just went off. I'll do it. Let me see, this work? Feel free to log off. Well, I booted up specifically. Like, I wasn't going to stream today. But I felt like I had to stream, because, like, I know they're, like, I think about Dania and those midnight streams. I occasionally popped into some of them in recent times because I've been on the West Coast a bit more lately, so there were a couple times in the past month or two that I would tune into his stream and watch him play Blitz. And he was just someone who really loved the game. He's someone who really he really loved the game. He was someone who just played for his love. So, how can people play on the USCC? Because I think most players don't know. I mean, I ran into like 2 or 3 players who I think could tell that something was wrong. It is confirmed. It is confirmed. FIDE posts about it on Instagram. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean, honestly, I'd rather be streaming right now, because also, it's an important thing. Like, I'll tell you guys, there are a lot of idiots out there on the internet who decided to take this clip completely out of context of me yesterday. Luckily, I don't read those comments, so I only am on the surface aware of this. But there are a bunch of people who took comments that I made yesterday out of context and started trying to make me look like the worst person in the world and canceling, even though they failed many times already. And where I was going with that, where was I going? I forget where I was going with that. Is that it's very important to remember, like, when people, yeah, I remember where I was going with that. It's like, if people wonder, I'm very unhappy with myself, because, people would be surprised to know that as far as chess goes, like, I've accomplished almost everything I could ask for. If I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, not to be morbid, I mean, I know we're in this sad mood right now, but if I were, if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, I would have no regrets with my chess career. But when there are other people who I'm emotionally invested in, who don't have the same opportunities I do, like my wife, for example, I really want her to do well. And it's not even so much about this tournament, because she's playing players who are, some of them are objectively just better than her, but it's the fact that, I hope she can qualify again. She can play this tournament. This is the one big highlight of the year for her as a chess tournament goes. And so it's really tough to see, because unfortunately she's losing all these games, and she's losing a lot of rating points, and she likely won't qualify again. So the reason I bring that up, of course, is not to try and talk about the whole topic, but it's important to remember that at the end of the day, chess is just a game. This is just a game. It is just a game. It is just a game. There's so many things that at the end of the day are ultimately much more important. I'm surprised they didn't cancel today's round. Well, the news didn't break until right before the round started. Like, I heard the news at like 11:52, and I think the tweet was probably at like 11:40. Like, I told you guys, the person who I heard it from is Eric Rosen. Like, I saw him walking, and like, I don't know what caused me to ask him, but like, something in the way he was walking, like, I felt like something wasn't right. And so I just asked him, I was like, is everything okay? And then Eric, Eric told me, and And yeah, yes. Yeah, I saw Eric and like I mean I didn't know something was wrong, but somehow I think it's probably just that intuition or sense. It's just like he didn't look quite right, so I just asked him, "Is everything okay? All good?" And then he told me. Eric Rosen, Eric Rosen, and it was yeah, I mean it was a it was a big shock. It's one of those things where when you hear it, like you kind of you hope it's not true. You hope it's not true. Yeah. Porter could probably use some sort of support. You know, it's also it crushes me because I can tell you guys like 2 days ago, I also sent a message to someone I know in Charlotte connected to the chess club. I sent a message saying, "Is Daniel okay? Is everything okay?" So it's really kind of crushing. It is kind of crushing. Do we know why he wasn't participating? Daniel came up just short of making the U.S. Championship. He finished second place in the U.S. Open behind Darius Swirt, who's playing this event. And nobody knows any specifics. But you know, it is what it is. He was struggling online. I saw the vlog and he looked off. Look at Kramnik Sweet. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I'll just say it. Like, I said it before. I'll say it again. Kramnik can go fuck himself. Like, I'll just say it. He can go fuck himself and he can rot in hell. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. That's my one sentence. If someone wants to clip that, clip it. Okay. Someone wants to clip it, you can clip it. I don't care. I don't care. So, that's my one sentence of the day. That's my one sentence. If someone wants to clip and try to cancel me, go for it. Have at it. Have at it, everybody. But anyway, yeah, I mean, having spoken to Daniel personally, regardless of whether it played a huge role, small role, no role at all, I just know that what happened took a massive toll on Daniel mentally. I know that took a massive toll on Daniel. Anybody who wants to pretend, if you saw Daniel before all the nonsense versus after, he was never super happy after that. So that's my 2 cents, you know. And I'm, you know, and I will say I will always be I will always be very unhappy, especially now, about the fact that none of the top players stood up and said anything on that topic. But whatever. You know, it is what it is, and that's my 2 cents. I don't want to, you know, there's not a whole lot else I want to say. Let's focus on the good. Let's focus on Danya and what he did, and you know, the person he was. So, I mean, I think people don't like. I'll tell you guys, people oftentimes like, everybody thinks it's all a joke. Like, you think it's a joke. You think it's a joke when someone says things. So yeah. SLCC is not starting the stream. Okay. But nobody knows what happened. I mean, people can speculate. I don't know. I think, you know, that's either like, I don't know, Peter and the Charlotte Chess Club will say something, or Daniel's family can say something. I mean, also, you know, it's crazy because, like, I think it was only like, maybe it's longer, but it feels like it was only 2 years ago that only 2 years ago that I think Daniel lost his father. I think it was only 2 years ago. I think maybe it's three now, but I mean, I know it was sometime after the pandemic happened. So yeah, Daniel is not he's no longer with us. So some of my favorite chess viewings are you and Daniel playing 15-20 games. You guys did some epic sessions. You know, even recently, I remember, like, you know, it was, you know, the day after I got to Saudi Arabia for the Esports World Cup. For some reason, I was trying to farm my rating. I think my rating was like 3,400 or close to it. And I was playing. I think I played an indie guy. I lost a couple of games, so my rating went down. And then I decided, for old time's sake, to throw down and play a long match with Daniel. It was actually very competitive. I think I won it like maybe 10-4 or something. We played a bunch of games. We played a lot of games. And I remember like after we played the games, we had a conversation, and we were just talking about like how as we're older, it's harder to play. Not super old, obviously, but like as far as myself, like it's hard. Like I can't just play these marathon matches for like 3, 4, 5 hours anymore. I get headaches and everything else. And we're just like reminiscing about the older times and the long matches the long match we used to play. So it of course like that makes me quite sad too, because that was right before the EWC, about that was beginning of August, so it was like 2.5 months ago. We played like 14 or 15 games, maybe it was even more than that. um but yes, yes, I've heard you many times say I'm going to play this like Daniel would. I mean, Daniel was, when I think about people in Blitz specifically who are not like elite classical chess players, like people who are not named Magnus, myself, or Ali Reza, I always had a ton of respect for Daniel. He understood how to play chess without increment. He had a very pure, very attacking style that was incredibly good. Like he was an incredibly good attacker, incredibly dynamic player, especially with the no increment formats. So Bro, what? I just heard about this. Yes. Yes. Yes, you guys. No, I mean I mean it's yeah, it's tough. I mean, he was obviously a great bull player too. Like that goes without saying. I mean, as I said, I played so many matches with him. There's so many matches I played with him, like during the pandemic, especially. During that wonderful period in 2020 and 2021. So yeah, yes. Of course, he played Ollie Reza that all night match. Before Ollie Reza had to play Nepo and the candidates in Madrid as well. Very memorable match too. Hikaru Pleases, not true. It is true. It is true. You always say let's go pull Daniel when playing aggressive. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honor Dan with the bullet brawl. I mean, I'm trying to think. I think the most iconic moment, even if I was on the wrong end of it, easily the most iconic moment out of the entire chess boom that happened was when Charlie Moist Critical beat XQC with the 6-move checkmate, and Dania helped Charlie. He prepared that. And I think it's easy to forget that it's been so many years now, but that was probably the pinnacle of everything. That was probably the pinnacle. He played the Comet Open with Ali Reza. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Do you think Charlie would make a video? I don't know. I mean, I think I probably will send Charlie. I think I will send Charlie a message. I think I will send Charlie a message and see if he wants to make a video on it. I mean, I don't know. I would hope that Charlie does it. Obviously, he doesn't have to, but it would be a nice touch. Yeah, I think I am gonna send Charlie a message right now. Let me see if I can find him. Yeah. Also, I mean, just to be clear, when people talk about ethics and these things, Daniel was not a cheater. I'm just gonna say that he loved the game far too much. He loved the game far too much, and just because in Blitz with no increment, he was so incredibly good. But he wasn't an elite player in classical chess. Like that means absolutely nothing. St. Louis Chess Club stopped the stream. They probably stopped the stream because they heard the news. They probably heard the news. So yeah, I'm gonna find. Let me see if I can find him. I found him. Okay, I sent a message to Charlie. We'll see. Yeah. Chess.com tweeted, yes, it is real. It is real. Am I going to the funeral? If there is a funeral, like a public thing, and it doesn't conflict with like clutch chess or something, I will 100% be there. I will 100% be there. Yes. 100% be there. 100%. Also, Dan in the U.S. Championship, he struggled in the last U.S. Championship he played, which I think was like 2021. But he did have a very, very big win in that tournament over Fabiano. He had a very, very big win. Yeah, I sent a message to Charlie, so we'll see if he responds or not. But I sent him a message. So yeah. He crushed Magnus in the last title Tuesday. I mean, Daniel was a great player. Great player. He didn't necessarily have the discipline with preparation to become a top classical chess player, but a very, very talented player. Very, very talented player. I mean, I'm hard pressed to think if there's anybody else that I played online more than him. Honestly, I'm hard pressed to think if there's, I don't think there's anybody that I played more games against on chess.com. Maybe Ali Reza I played a lot too, but I think Daniel, I'm almost certain that I played more games against him on chess.com than anyone else. Look at the Daniel Fabiano game. Sure, if I can find it, I will. Yeah, if I can find it, I will. So let me find it. Caruana Naroditsky. That was that legendary Spanish. Let me find it. Then you were streaming. I mean, I'm streaming. I was not intending to stream today. And then I saw there was a bunch of nonsense elsewhere. But then, as I said, when I went over to the club. When I went over to the club with my wife before the round started, I mean, I for something in my mind just clicked. I call it intuition, whatever. Something clicked when I saw Eric Rosen. He didn't look completely right, and so I just like, "Are you okay? Is all good?" And then he's like, no, and then he told me the news, and I was thinking, I felt that there are going to be a lot of people who were big fans of Danya's, who are probably going to be looking for somewhere to at least be part of the chess community as a whole. And so I just thought it was the right thing to do. Let me find the game. Yeah. So of course there was a game between Fabiano and Dan Naroditsky from the U.S. Championship. This was, I believe, in 27, or when was this? Sorry, let me find the article. I don't have it, so someone can tell me. But they played in the U.S. Championship. Daniel played this A6 D6 system against Fabiano Spanish. I'll flip the board, of course, because Daniel won this game. Castles, Bishop D7, C3, and now they move Knight to F6. And then Daniel played Bishop G7. One thing about Daniel is he always loved the fianchetto. He loved it's 2021. He loved the fianchetto setups. He was somebody who really he liked playing the King's Indian. I think everybody knows. He and I, we had many games in the King's Indian. It was probably what, when I think back on all the games he played, what I'll remember him the most for was just the classic King's Indian. He also played a lot of moderns. I mean, again, as I said, I played him many times. He played all kinds of moderns, all kinds of King's Indian, but he loved the fianchetto bishop. So he ended up getting a fianchetto bishop against Fabiano in this game. And then in castles, we get h3, knight to b4, takes, queen b3, a5, a3, and now we get to move knight to c6. We get to move knight f1, and then we get to move a4 here, queen d3, and now after knight to a5, Dan is trying to put the knight on b3, some pressure towards the central pawns. Very decent position. We get bishop g5, then we get h6, takes, knight d2, then we get knight a5, knight b1, bishop g7, and then we get to move c6. White's still a little bit better here, but black has a nice bishop on the diagonal. You have the pawns and the queen here. Get e5, rook e8, knight e4, knight c4. We get takes, knight e5. We get queen f5. Another nice move here due to the pin. g4, queen e6, knight c3, and after rook c8, rook e2, and queen b3, Daniel starts to take over the game. I don't care what Kramnik tweeted, you guys. I don't care one bit. I don't care at all. I already gave my thoughts on Kramnik, and I hope someone clipped it. And then we got this endgame where Danny gets 2 connected pawns. We get rook c1, bishop b2, bishop a3, b2, bishop f8, and now bishop g7. And now Danny just brings the king all the way over. He has a passed pawn on b2. And then we get this position, and eventually he goes on to win this game. Force the trade, bring the bishop back. Now the knight is dominated by the bishop. No squares available here. We got king d5, h5. And we get g3, bishop d6. And here Fabiano resigns because Daniel's controlling the 2 pawns with the b. The king comes over and gobbles this one. And he gets a very big win. Arguably, not arguably, probably the biggest win of his classical chess career against Fabiano in the 2021 US Championship. So this was, I remember this game because Daniel was struggling in the tournament. But he had this huge win against Fabiano, and it speaks to how good he was. How good he was. So, all right, you guys. I'll just go back to the regular scene. This news is painful for me. Yes, it's extremely sad. It's extremely sad. Daniel was really proud of his game against Ortiz Suarez. I can try to find that too. Daniel with the white pieces. Yeah, he played this too. He and Bornik, both of them, love to play this Jobava London with d4, knight c3, and bishop f4. Yep. Okay, complicated position. A lot of mistakes as we're only human. Yeah, and then he plays this. Rook e2, rook e1. The double stacked rooks on the file. We get rook c8, then we get c5, g5, and now we get the move rook takes e6. Beautiful sacrifice by Daniel, sacking the rook and trying to play against black's weaknesses. All these passive pieces, the weak pawn on d5, great bishop, everything very, very clogged here for black. Get a6, bishop b1, rook c6. I thought my light would stay on, but we got this. Oh, Dan does a double rook sack. He did a double rook sack. Plays queen d3 and knight e3, and even though he's down 2 rooks for a bishop and a knight, he's got all these pawns rolling up the board, the double A battery on the diagonal, and he ends up going on to win this game with these knights and the queen. This is actually a very beautiful game. Very, very beautiful game. His chess videos are so great. For me, the best, really sad. If you were an intermediate player looking to improve in chess, his videos were easily the best. They were ones that would help you improve. I know there are other people who, actually, I shouldn't say it that way. Some people are assuming I'm talking about Levy. But I would say that, you know, there's a lot of content out there. But if you truly are looking to improve at chess, Daniel was the best. He was the best. Hearing your voice crack makes me all shaken up. I mean, I'm incredibly strong mentally. I'm not gonna lie. I am incredibly strong. You know, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not. I think you have to be in order to make online content. You have to be extremely strong. You have to be extremely strong. Like, even though I didn't read comments, I'm aware that there's some stupid thread or clip about me from yesterday trying to make me out to be the worst person in the world. And you have to be incredibly strong mentally to either not take those comments to heart or to be able literally just to not go to such sites. And I'm the latter. I'm able to just ignore websites and just go about my day and everything that I do. I mean, like, you know, there's something to be said, but I will tell you guys that I'm incredibly sad today. And Bornik also streaming, yeah. No, I mean, ultimately nothing can be done. I learned this from the situation with Reckful 5 years ago. You know, that if someone's gone at a really young age, you know, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I remember back in 20, I was thinking to myself, like, why didn't I try to go to Austin when he was there? You know, why didn't I write him a message, you know, the day before, or all these little things that you know, it would have been nice to have been able to do, but you can't. You can't go back and change things. That's the thing. You can't. I mean, as much as you want to, you can't. So, yeah. All right. So back to the games. We're waiting for a move in Fabiano's game. Let's see what we get here. But what did Charlie say? I don't know. Charlie responded. Yeah. Um, Actually, no, I'll find out right away. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Charlie sent me a message, so just give me a second. Let me find this. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm just gonna send a message. So anyway, what happened to Dania? My favorite memory of Dania. I mean, I don't have a favorite memory of him specifically. Oh my god. Ugh. I just got a message. I just oh jeez, I can't read it, and it just makes ugh ugh. Yeah. Ugh. I mean, yeah. Sorry. I mean, I'm writing to a bunch of different people, obviously at the same time, because I'm trying to do what I can. Like I'm writing to Charlotte. I'm writing to other people I know in Charlotte. So yeah, it's okay to take a break. Yeah. Hanging. I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay. But yeah, so you asked me my favorite memory. I don't have a single memory that I would say is my favorite, but I think with Daniel, what I will always remember more than anything else is his like his enthusiasm, like his love of the game of chess. Really, like I mean, having watched a stream here or there, having played against him, just the enthusiasm when he would get these positions, you know, trying to attack, playing with the initiative. Um, uh, yeah. So yeah, yeah. I think it's just it was his passion specifically for blitz and bullet chess, his passion for quick time controls, and his love of like attacking chess. His love of attacking chess, like that is probably what I will always remember. I mean, obviously he was a great commentator, but just for me, like since I played against him so many times, like that's what I will always remember. I'll remember his passion, his love of the game. That's what I remember. That's what I will remember. Talk to Bortnick. He's crying too. I mean, I feel terrible for Bortnick. I mean, I think Daniel and Bortnick were basically like brothers. Basically like brothers. So I can't. I mean, it's yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just yeah. Uh, what happened to Daniel? He's not with us anymore, you guys. He's not with us. His impersonations also, yes. How much did you play with him online? I mean chess.com probably has these stats. I think I played against Daniel Naroditsky more than I played against anyone else. Maybe Alireza is close. I'll actually check. Let me create a new window. Like if I go to my profile, give me 1 second. If I go to my profile here, um, if I click on games, let's see. Opponent. Was it GM Naroditsky or was it Dan? I think it was Daniel Naroditsky, right? No, was it GM Naroditsky? I'm trying to figure out GM Naroditsky. No, was it Daniel Naroditsky? Yes. Okay, so let me click on his profile. Sorry if the scene is off, you guys, but let me click on his profile. How do I see my stats against him? How do I see my stats against him? Somewhere here there should be stats. Let me click on Blitz. Oh yeah, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see it on the right hand side. Let me change the scene. There we go. Yeah, my games against Dania. 2075 to 936. We basically played We basically played 3,000 games. And is this just Blitz or is this Bullet too? It's total. We played 3,000 games against each other. 3,000 games, yep. I'm pretty sure that's the most games I played against anybody on chess.com. Not counting ICC either. Not counting ICC. We played many games there as well. Yeah. Check Ali Reza. I mean, I'm sure I played Ali Reza, but it's nowhere near there. My first memory, I mean, I don't specifically remember. I mean, it probably was the U.S. Championship in 2015, honestly, when I played him. But... Oh, 3,000 is just Blitz? Okay, so if I click Bullet... How do I... if I click Bullet, let me refresh the page. No, it says... Is this total? It says 3,011 games. It says overall. If you could say one thing to Danya, what would it be? Ugh. Ugh. You know what I would say to Danya is just having spoken to him a lot about certain specific topics. You know, if there was one thing that I could say to him, it would probably be, you know, to remember to do your, this is actually a problem with streamers in general, but just remember all the good things, all the positive comments, on whether it's on your videos, whether it's on your stream, to remember all the positivity and to not let the negativity get you down. Has Adusa messaged me? She's not, so I assume she's playing. I mean, you can't stop the games. The games have started. You can't stop the games. You can't stop them. So I would just say to do your best to remember the good times. Remember the good things. That's what I would say. But anyway, I don't know what happened. I'm not going to speculate. I think probably the Charlotte Chess Club and or Bortnick will probably say something down the road. But I'm not going to speculate on that. So, yeah, I would just say though, if Dana, you know, if Dana were out there, we're out there, you know, watching right now, you know, whether it's up above or whatever is some way to hear what's being said. I mean, I think it's just, you know, to remember the positive impact he had. Like, he had a very, very big impact with the online scene. I did not see Daniel recently. I mean, my mental health is indestructible, and that's I'm not gonna flex. I'm not trying to flex you guys, but if I'm being brutally honest, like my mental health is stronger than anybody else's, and it's not even close. The amount of stuff I've had to, the amount of spears and swords and knives and everything that have been thrown at me over the years, like I mean, I'm basically indestructible. I'm gonna say that. I'm not trying to flex. I'm saying that because, like, I'm able to just, like, ignore all the nonsense. Levy tweeted 1 minute ago. Okay. Yeah, I'm not even trolling when I say that. Calling me a dickhead? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, I've had to deal with so much hate directed my way over the last, like, 5 years. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. Don't say things like that. I'm saying that because I think mental health is a very serious thing, and it's very easy. It's very easy to let it affect you negatively. I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm saying that simply because of the fact that, like, you know, I know very well what it's like to have brigades come at you, to have people try to cancel you, to have people accuse you of this, that, or the other thing. I know it better than almost anyone. I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm saying that because it's the truth. And I also would say one other thing, just one general thing. This is a general thing. I would also say that because, you know, I don't talk about it much, but, you know, when I was much younger, there were periods I had certain thoughts. I will say that there were periods I had certain thoughts when I was much younger. Now, we don't know if that's, like, what happened here or not, but I'm just telling you that, you know, when I was younger, I had certain thoughts. So I'm not immune to this stuff. I'm not immune to any of this stuff with mental health. All right, so there is a tweet from Levy. Let's see what Levy tweeted. Levy tweeted, I've been sitting here numb for the past hour staring at this news. The world lost a brilliant man today. May his memory live on forever, and may we always cherish his contributions to our beautiful game. Yes. Yep. But I felt like I should stream today. I really did. I really felt like I should stream today. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the games. I'll just leave it here. We'll obviously keep doing everything we can, but yeah. I mean, I'm heartbroken. I'm not gonna lie. Also, because even though people assume, people like to assume there's huge drama or everybody hates each other, everything. I would also tell you guys that the only person that I probably spoke to in recent times, the only other person I spoke to a lot in recent times was Levy. Daniel was the person that I spoke to the most. He was the person I spoke to the most. Of people from like the online chess like streamer community, he is the person I spoke to the most. He is. We basically we would chat on Discord, but it's extremely sad. It's extremely sad. Dan Bornick was playing Dan at the after party. Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's one of those things where when you play someone, when you play someone, when I would say when you grow up and you play against him so many times. I mean, I know he's a little bit younger than I am, but having played him online from the time he was probably like 13, 14, for 15 plus years, it's really a gut punch. It really is. The bullet brawls also were great. You would say on stream how he was eternally grateful to you for always having his back. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't enough. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, I shouldn't start saying these what ifs. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, you guys. I went to my first chess tournament this year in Wisconsin and had the pleasure of meeting Daniel in person. I'm so shocked and sad right now. Yeah. So, it might be nice to sponsor an event in honor of Daniel, the Dan Blitz Championships. I think something like that should happen. I think right now everybody's kind of in shock. I think it's for me, obviously right now we're streaming here on Kick, but when I think back to the origins of the chess boom and how like all of us were streaming, I felt like the last two people who were streaming were really myself and Daniel. Daniel would still stream those 2 or 3 a.m. Those night streams. And really I would say he was the last one streaming serious like significantly on Twitch. So that also, like I saw someone say at the end, it's going to be different on Twitch. It is because he was really the last chess streamer who was still streaming fairly regularly on Twitch. I mean, like I said, if there's anything that I can do to help in Charlotte, I obviously will. Charlie also echoed something similar. So, I'll see what, if there's anything I can do or people can do, but it's really it's extremely sad. It's extremely sad. I mean, 29 years old, so much life in front of him. Yeah. What happened? Daniel Naroditsky is no longer with us. The streamer, GM Naroditsky. That's what happened. I think I know Charlie isn't the best chess player, but that was an amazing moment. That, like, when I look back to the pinnacle of what chess was during that glorious period of the pandemic. I mean, that even if that, ultimately, like, I was obviously trying to help XC and wanted XCC to win. That ultimately is the iconic and most defining moment of the whole chess boom. It really is. It is. It's the most iconic moment. That game between Charlie and XQC was like that was the moment. It was. I'm not gonna read replies. I'm not gonna read any of that stuff. Like, I'm here to talk about Daniel and what he did in his time here. So, I mean, it's brutal. It's rough. There's really, I mean, like, I feel incredibly empty. Like, I know these games are going on, but I'm just shell shocked. I'm shell shocked. I mean, I'm shell shocked. Will I go to his funeral if there's a funeral? I mean, I definitely will. I definitely will if it's in Charlotte or it's in the Bay Area or wherever it is. Like, if it doesn't conflict with Clutch Chess, which is at the end of this, which is next week, I will 100% be there. Do the people playing know the news? I don't know. The only thing I would say is if someone happened to be on Reddit or Instagram right before their round, they may have seen it. They may have seen it if they were on Reddit or Twitter or Instagram right before the game. I would hope most players weren't on social media before the game because it is a serious tournament. But I think if anybody was on social media, they might have seen it before the round. It appears they know from the way they're playing. It feels like they know. I mean, I would hope they didn't do something right. If anybody's there, there's no live feed, right? If somebody is there, if somebody was there at the start, they probably could confirm whether they made an announcement before the round or not. If they made no announcement before the round, then it probably isn't known. So, that's what I'd say. What do I think about tweets? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. Will you and Bobby be able to play well next week? I imagine people have to see. I mean, it's going to be very rough. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be extremely tough to play. But you said you were walking with the Tusas, so all players must know. The reason I know is because when I was walking with the Tusas to the round, I saw Eric Rosen, and whether it's instinct or whatever, I felt like something was off. So I just said, "Are you all right? Everything okay?" And then Eric told me, he's like, no. And like at first he was like he was hesitant, and then I told the Tusas to just go in. I'd catch up with her because I figured it's probably some small thing or some nonsense like about me and some drama or something. And then Eric told me, and like Atusa went inside, and I didn't actually see her. I didn't go in because I was so just shocked and blown away. And then like I didn't actually wish Atusa good luck before the game. So hopefully everything will work out for her. But yeah, that's what happened. So it doesn't mean everyone's gonna know because I heard from Eric. I had no idea when I was walking over. I had no idea when I was walking over. But I'm just Eric Rosen, who's also a streamer, content creator, who's here in St. Louis. He told me, does Atusa know? Probably not, unless they said something in there. But she might have some idea because it was very weird. Like I was gonna go to the inside, go like wish her good luck, give her a hug and everything, and then I didn't go inside because like I heard this from Eric. And I was like, it was like what? Not it's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah. I mean, he almost couldn't get the words out. He almost couldn't get the words out, and that's when like as soon as that happened, I was like, I knew it was something incredibly bad. But yes. Daniel's death is the main headline in Norway's biggest newspaper right now. Yeah. Do you think Daniel knows how much he mattered to everyone? I mean, I would hope, like, I'm someone who likes to believe that, like, it's not one and done kind of situation in life. I like to believe, like, there's like you're like on another plane of existence or something if you're no longer here. Obviously, we have no idea what reality is, but I would hope that that I'm right in that belief, and that wherever he is, he can see, whether it's from my stream, whether it's from Boarding Stream, whether it's from the outpouring of support on Twitter from everybody except for one bozo, that he can see how much he meant. That's my take. That's my take. So yeah, would you say it was one of the best bullet points you ever had? Yeah, I mean, this just stirred up a lot of memories of like the days before the whole chess boom. Like I remember in like 2018 and 2019, right when I was getting into streaming, they had Arena Kings, and Arena Kings used to be such a hype event. And I remember there were so many of those Arena Kings with 3-0 time controls, but where Dan and I would be like racing each other to the end of the event, and most of the time I would end up winning, but there were some of those Arena Kings that he would win. And I do remember that, like he would cheese his opponents, win these games really fast, and it was always a lot of fun. Whether it was in the Arena Kings, whether it was Bullet Brawl, or so many times, like where I would have this like 10-point lead, and Daniel, I would always say Daniel was the one player where if I had a 10 or a 15-point lead, but there were like 10 minutes left, he was the only player who I was worried could catch up, because he was so good at cheesing people. He's so good at tricking them in the opening and winning games in like 20 or 30 seconds versus 2 minutes. So it's extremely sad. Extremely sad. Yeah. CourtneyChess.com, you've played him the most over the years. I have, yes. No, I mean, he was amazing. That's not some kind of critique. He was just really good. That's a talent. Being able to beat people quicker than it takes others is a talent. Wait, Daniel passed away? Yes, you guys. Yes. Yes. I mean, it's like every time I say it, it's like it's very tough not to get emotional. It's very, very tough. Because every time I say it, it doesn't feel real. It does not feel real. It doesn't feel real at all. There's a clip of Danny going and saying how incredible you are at Bullet while playing you. I mean, the amount of respect we had for each other was, immeasurable, and I think it really showed. Like I always had a lot of respect for his blitz, his bullet, everything he did for chess. Everything he did for chess, I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. Tremendous amount of respect, and I always will. I will. He said his livelihood was at stake, but his YouTube, Twitch, and chess teaching should be fine. I mean, you guys, when you have to deal with someone with the gravitas of the level of a world champion, like every day, and nothing is good enough for that person, make no mistake, that takes a huge toll on you mentally. Chess better should post a message on their website. I mean, that's the thing. Like Danya did not make it as a professional player, but he was a very, very good coach. He's one of those people, one of the few people that I can think of where the level of his play did not deteriorate significantly in spite of the fact that he did a lot of coaching. Many people, when they start teaching, including like my wife, for example, it's very tough to teach and not have it degrade the quality of your level of chess. I've seen it with many people over the years, but with Danny, he was teaching and he still was playing at like a 2600 plus level. So like he was an immensely talented player, immensely talented player. Like I'll give you another example. There's this player who I think he might still be going to school or not. But there's this guy from Ukraine whose name is Ilya Nizhnik, and when he came to the U.S. like I think like 4 years ago or whatever, he was like 2,700, 18, 19 years old, really good player from Ukraine. And he went to school. I think he started teaching some, drifting away, and now his rating is like 2570 or something insane. Because he drifted away. But Daniel was teaching and doing all these things, and he was able to maintain that incredible level, both at regular chess, but also at Blitz and Bullet. No, it's not easy. Like I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock. Like I'm still completely in shock. That happens to I mean, that happens to everybody. When you start teaching a lot, like it's very tough to maintain your level. Norway chess journalist Vera is praising Daniel. I mean, Daniel was one of the. I mean, he like everybody, he had his moments. But overall, he did a lot for chess. Without, I would say mostly like the thing that I would say is different about Daniel versus a lot of people. Everything he did was for the love of chess. It was not about making money or this or that. It was it was the amount of love he had for the game, the amount of love he had for chess history. All these different things. I'll just read one little, just like one message. On August 19th of this year, I wrote to you, I said, I know there have been many ups and downs over the years, but it's been, I can't believe I wrote this 2 months ago. Like, literally 2 months ago, it was August 19th. I wrote to him, I said, I know there have been many ups and downs over the years, but it's been a lot of fun playing against you and seeing how amazing chess was for all of us in 2020 and 2021. And Deanna wrote, sorry I missed this message. Thank you. I'm very touched to hear that. I feel similarly. I consider it a great honor. I consider it a great honor to have had the chance to play you so many times. I'll savor the memories forever. And I agree in retrospect. I really wish I took advantage of the COVID years. It was so easy to become complacent and assume that it would last forever. So, anyway, yeah, for anybody who's wondering, yeah, that's not the last. Those aren't the last messages we had, but that's like amongst the last. So